Hey, welcome to this video. So right now I'm going to start modeling this grenade design that I got here. I just want to do this quickly as a quick warm-up sketch, looking about maybe 3 hours to design this. I wrote myself a little brief of some of the things that I wanted to do, which I'll refine and finish later, but I use this to help me get an idea of the features of the designs. So I created the visuals first, and then I backwards designed it because I did it just for myself. And so I settled on the idea of an exploratory grenade. And so basically what I want to integrate into this design, it's based in the far future. I want to have several different features. So first of all, it's an exploration grenade. It's not designed for military use. Most of all, it's capable of doing things like working with orbital data from the ground, from other sensory information, just all processed by an onboard AI, and if we're thinking 200 years in the future, something like that, that's not a big deal, right? You probably would need a very small computer to be able to do that. It's going to have features like, awareness of where the user is, and will never detonate if it's in the user's hand. So it's a very safe weapon. And then also, it's able to determine the best positioning and detonation sequence for maximum effect. So the idea is that it has this gravitational plate. In the future, like for example in Star Trek, right, we have gravity plating in the floors. And so the premise of this is that human beings have developed a technology where they're able to manipulate and create graviton waves, which is a theorized wave of gravity or whatever. I'm not a scientist. Science is probably wrong, but I'm just trying to make something plausible, so feel free to blast me in the comments. I want it to have the ability to eject nerve gas, smoke, and a disorientation charge. And these are for if you encounter hostile wildlife. Like let's say, for example, you're exploring a planet, right? And you encounter some very large predatory animals. So that's what a nerve gas charge would be for. Smoke would be for getting away when you don't want to cause damage, and then a disorientation charge is for if you're trying to scare away some animals. And it also has signal smoke, so if you're lost, your communication's somehow broken in the future, you can throw this and it'll make sure that somebody sees it. It's not designed explicitly for military use, and that's also why it looks as it does. I want it to look cool, feel like a rigid multi-purpose tool that also happens to be a grenade, right? It can probably explode too. I might do a breakdown of what's inside at the end of the design, we'll see. I want to have a glass breaker charge, so basically you put the grenade face down, like you're holding it like a knife kind of, and I want it to have like a little charge that can break very thick glass, so it's helpful for an emergency situation. The gravity plate isn't super strong, since it's a very small device, it's not going to be very powerful, so it's capable of things like if you throw it, right, it's going to orientate itself so that the ejection areas are going to have the maximum effect possible. And using the AI and all the sensor data, it's going to be able to determine the best place to do that as well. And so that's one of the benefits of this system, and it also is able to lightly track targets and extend the throw of the user using this. So it's not very powerful, but it's able to manipulate itself enough to make it much more useful than a regular grenade. And then also a small onboard sensor package. So I'm going to put some cameras and other sensory hints on there. So if you're exploring, maybe you approach a chasm, you can throw it down the chasm. It'll scan that area for you, within a certain distance, and give you that feedback, that data that you need to make your next step of your journey. So, and that would be a reusable feature. So in this case, you could throw it, pick it up again, do the same thing. So yeah, this is what I wanted to do. I'm going to try and make it look somewhere in between the real world now and a bit sci-fi. One other thing I want to do is I want to put these little tiny caps on the edges, and since it contains things like nerve gases, I want it to have covers and also be a cool second render. So this is my ref board. I want to keep it simple. I want to try to find a balance between sci-fi and manufactured, and I want to do it pretty fast. So I'm not going to go crazy into detail.